Okay, welcome to Jump Math 6. This is book 2, and we're on page 51, Reflections. So again, just a reminder that at the top of your pages there is sometimes some instruction. So right here gives you the idea of what we're doing. So reflections are another type of transformation. So transformations are movements of two-dimensional shapes across a plane, across a grid. And we've looked at translations already, which are slides, and this is dealing with reflections, or another word for them is a flip. So to reflect a point P in a mirror line M, draw a line through P perpendicular to M, so it needs to be at 90 degrees. Extend it beyond M and measure the distance from P to M along the perpendicular line. So basically, if we're taking P and this is the mirror line M, whatever distance this is right here needs to be repeated over here, right? So that's how we can draw a point in reflection, and you can see that it's P prime. And so it is perpendicular. It's exactly 90 degrees across the line. So I'm just going to change colors here. So at the bottom it says point P prime is the mirror image of point P. Mathematicians say that P prime is the image of P under reflection in the line M. So looking down to question 1, let's do some of these together. Again, you should do A and C, or whatever question I don't do as an example, you should do the other question, okay? So it says count the grid squares to reflect point A in the given line. So we don't need a ruler because they've done this on a grid. So you can see for the mirror line is here for B, right? So I'll just draw a little bit of blue on that. And so for A to be reflected in it, we have to move it all the way across. I'm going to change colors again. So it goes like this. It's 3 steps away. So I'm going to jump 3 steps away. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put in the point and write A prime. So of course you don't actually have to draw in those steps. You just have to count it out. Okay? Let's look at question 2. It gives you another little tip here. In question 2, it says to reflect a shape in a mirror line, reflect the shapes of vertices, then join the images of the vertices. So again, vertices are the points of a two-dimensional shape, and then we're going to join them. So I'll do 2 here. You guys can do 1. We'll do this one as notes if you like. So E is 3 jumps away, so I'm going to move 3 jumps over and say, okay, here's E prime. F is only 1 jump away, so I'm just going to move it here and say this is F prime. And D is 4 jumps away, so I'm going to move across this line this way, 4 jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is D prime. So I would draw in this. Again, you should use a ruler, and if I could use a ruler digitally, I would, but I can't. So this is now congruent to that triangle, and you can measure all the angles and the lengths of those using your protractor. By the way, if you're not sure how to use a protractor, you should just look up a tutorial on YouTube for how to use a protractor, and I'll see if I can send that out to you as well. Okay, let's move on. For question 3 on page 52, if you look at the next page, you need to start by identifying these points. So I'll get you to do question 2 on your own. I'm going to do 1 with you right now. So we identify the points. We can give them letters if we want, A, B, and C. And then I'm going to reflect them across the line. So here's A prime. C is 3 jumps away, so it's going to be 3 jumps away again. C prime. B is 2 jumps away, so 2 jumps away. That's from the mirror line, right? B prime, and again, just going to draw in as best I can, but you would use a ruler, these 3 lines. Draw line segments between each vertex in part A with its image. What do you notice about the line segments? So that means I'm going to just choose another color here. Draw in a line segment again with your ruler like this. What do you notice about these line segments? Well, you might notice a few things. One is that they're parallel with each other. They all point the same direction. They're all equal distance with each other. The other thing you might note is that since A is closer to the mirror line, this is a short jump. It's only a 2-step on the grid. This one is a 4-block step, and this one is a 6-block step because C is furthest away from the mirror line, so the line segment ends up being longer. Okay, the midpoint of the line segment is halfway between. So interestingly, I'm going to choose another color. The midpoint here of A to A prime and C to C prime and B to B prime, the midpoints are all along the mirror line, which is what it should be if we've drawn it correctly. Okay? So what do you notice about the midpoints? You can do that here. A little hint for 2, it's weird. These 3 points are going to jump across the mirror line over to here, but this point is actually going to drop across the midline this direction. So this one right here is actually going to flip the other direction. So make sure you pay attention to that when you try that question. So for question 4, you're drawing line segments like we did in the last question between the images, and then you're finding the midpoint, and you're finding out if this is a line of reflection or not. So if I go back to my red color and I put in the midpoint, if the midpoints all line up, then you know it is a reflected image. Okay. If we do the same for the next one, there's 3. Looks like 3 as well. Looks like 3 and 3. So in here, if I put in the midpoints, which would be about here, about here, about here, and about here, we can see that for number 2, it is not a reflection. So try out the bonus question and see if you can figure out if that's a reflected image or not. Whoops. So in page 53, I think you can do question 5 on your own. We've got question 6. I would say do I and 3. If I quickly did this one, it would reflect something like this, right? And whoops, I'm trying to draw straight, but it's very difficult with my digital technology here. So this would be T prime. So do I and 2 for a question. So you would do I and 2 for all these letters, right? For question 7, it's having you reflect something twice. So try doing I and the bonus, and I'm going to quickly do this one right here. So R would reflect through to look like this through L. So R reflects through mirror line L to look like that, and that's R prime. But then if I reflect again through mirror line M, which it asked me to do in B, what if I reflect through mirror line M? Then this is going to reflect down to here, all right, because it's 1 step away. This corner is going to reflect to here because it's 1 step away. This one is going to reflect to here, and this one is going to reflect to here because it's 2 steps away from line M. So this is what, whoops, what my R star is going to look like when I do B. Anyway, I hope that's good.